First defense is assumption of the risk. Second defense is superseding cause. And the third one is where millions of dollars are won and lost in injury lawsuits, and that is contributory negligence or comparative negligence. And here's how that works. You were hit in a car accident. I was driving the other car. I ran the red light and I hit you right in the side. That's called a T-bone crash. I T-boned your car. I ran the red light. It's my fault. You had a broken shoulder and a broken arm, and you're suing me now for damages, pain and suffering, and medical bills. And the lawyer who's defending me, the insurance defense lawyer hired by my insurance company, he's brought you in for your deposition. That's where they swear you in and they ask you about the facts of the case to find out what testimony you're going to give at trial. So you're in the deposition, and he says, now, at the time of the accident, were you wearing a seatbelt? And you say, well, no. See, I was just going down to the corner market, and it's only a couple of blocks from my house, and so I didn't bother to put my seatbelt on. And in fact, that's why when Litchfield's car hit me like this, I flew across the car, and I hit the opposite wall of the car, and that's when I broke my shoulder and my arm. And by the way, something like 80% of all of the serious and fatal injury accidents in cars happen within a 2 or 3 mile radius of your home. So it's more important to wear your seatbelt when you're just going a short distance than it is at any other time. But that's a side note. But the lawyer says, okay, the deposition's over, and he's got the big smile on his face, and he's kind of dancing out the door, and you say, wait a minute. You didn't ask me any more of the details about the accident. You didn't ask me about my medical bills. What's going on? And the lawyer smiles and looks back at you and says, well, you don't understand. This is a contributory negligence jurisdiction. And in a contributory negligence jurisdiction, if you, as the injured plaintiff, were also negligent in any way, and your negligence contributed even a little bit to your injury, then that is a complete bar from you recovering anything from the defendant. So you failed to wear your seatbelt, and that was part of the cause of your injury. So even though Litchfield was way more negligent and ran the red light and crashed into the side of your car, he's off scot-free. You can recover nothing from him. That's what happens in a contributory negligence jurisdiction. A little bit of negligence on the part of the injured plaintiff, and the defendant's completely off the hook. Well, as you might imagine, contributory negligence, that creates quite a few unfair results, like the one that you just saw. And so most states, including California, have gone to a more enlightened view on that, called comparative negligence. And in a comparative negligence jurisdiction, if the plaintiff was also negligent and the plaintiff's negligence contributed to the plaintiff's injury, it is not a complete bar to the plaintiff recovering anything from the defendant, but instead, when the thing goes to trial, they will ask the jury to apportion the degree of fault as between the plaintiff and the defendant. And so if the jury says, well, you know, Litchfield was 90% at fault because he ran the red light and he was speeding, and the poor driver of the other car that got hurt, they were only like 10% responsible because they weren't wearing their seatbelt. Well, then if the medical damages are $100,000, I'll have to pay $90,000 of it, and the injured person will be on the hook for the other 10. But that's a much fairer result. That is a comparative negligence jurisdiction as opposed to a contributory negligence jurisdiction.